Good shit.
What's up, sickos? Welcome to
But
Truth in MMA for the UFC 226 recap, TUF27 finale recap. We got Jay Smooth in the building. Jay, say what's up to the people.
what's up, sickos? Hope you
That's
all aren't too hungover from last night.
like most of us, man. Yo, but I gotta drop the Eddie Bravo little intro into the building, so let's get that rolling.
It shouldn't be such a big deal.
Let's look into it.
History, science, education, energy, everything has always been controlled by the government since day one. CIA!
Look at the time.
You figure it out. You try to figure it out.
No, it
No,
seems like
because when
people
they
would.
look into it, it's common sense. When you look into it,
Boom, there we go. Let's fucking look into this shit, man. Holy shit. I'm happy to get this one wrong, man. I picked Stipe. I thought Stipe's boxing was looking pretty darn good though there for a minute. But that motherfucker, he almost like tilted his head down and being the shorter guy just took the punches on the top of the head, stormed through it,
Man,
got into DC's fucking clinch and took him out, man. That shit was nuts. Jay, your thoughts?
man, I'm happy to get this one wrong too. I actually picked Stipe myself. I didn't think it would actually last. I mean, I thought it was going to last 5 rounds. I didn't think it would actually be over one. But just that the fact that DC was in trouble early and was just able to pull that punch out and just completely drop Stipe. It was a shocking moment. It was a crazy moment, and it was an amazing moment. DC's definitely the GOAT. He certainly earned it last night.
Oh my god, right? Like how many analysts out there did you hear tell you that if DC's going to get it done, he's going to have to get the decision win? I heard that over and over and over again.
Oh man,
Dude, in
I
the
was.
chat,
It's, wait,
everyone's going nuts about the eye pokes.
I tell you what, it was very interesting that as soon as Stipe got poked in the eye, that was when Cormier was kind of able to land that punch and drop him.
Right?
Little interesting. Little bit interesting. Definitely noteworthy.
Can you become the greatest of all time without cheating?
It's tough. I mean, if people say that John Jones isn't the GOAT because he took drugs, if people say Anderson Silva is not the GOAT because he took drugs, you almost have to think, does somebody deserve to be a GOAT for cheating? Like, think about Yoel Romero. A lot of people don't want to admit how great he is, mainly because of a lot of the shady tactics he does during fights. Anytime somebody's known for that, doesn't really bode well for you when it comes to the GOAT conversation. So hey, you got to think about all forms of cheating, whether it's just drugs or whether it's in cage behavior.
I'm totally with you. Isn't it kind of funny that DC gets a complete pass for the tailgate?
How about that? A lot of people don't talk about the fact that he literally put his hands and leaned forward on the towel just to make 205 when he fought Rumble Johnson, but for some reason we glance over that.
We
For a lot
sure
of
do, man. It's fucking weird how the world works that way. And then, yeah, other cheaters. You mentioned Anderson pop in. So in my mind, you got kind of DJ, who's never actually, since he's dropped down to 125, he hasn't came up to really prove he's the GOAT. So I mean, I love that guy and his skills, but in GOAT pound for pound conversation, I can't put him that high. And then GSP might be your GOAT because he's never apparently cheated, except for
by
didn't
well, there was
grease
that one
up.
time where he allegedly. Yeah, I was gonna say there was one time where he allegedly greased that I think was still glanced over, but all in all, he hasn't had any real scandals if you think about it.
Yeah, that might be. What do you think? What's more? What offends you more, Towgate or greasing?
Hmm. You know what? Greasing is kind of hard to detect because as a fight goes on, a lot of fighters build up sweat. So in a way, you can kind of get away with greasing. So that's hard to detect. I'd be more pissed off at the towel thing because you knew you weren't going to make the weight, so you tried
Mm-hmm.
to find a way around it and get a little advantage. That way, your money wasn't taken from you. That I'd be a little more offended by. I'd be a little more offended by that, especially if I was the fighter who was fighting the guy that missed weight, because then I lose out on 30% of his money.
Right? Where was Anthony Rumble Johnson's manager during those weigh-ins?
Maybe I guess because he knew in the back of his mind he was going to retire, he didn't make too much of a big deal out of it. But still, I know I
Mm,
would have if I was in his spot.
yeah. But was that not like the beginning of the morning weigh-ins? Is when that went down? Because that wasn't an official weigh-in.
Yes, that was the morning weigh-in. You're correct.
Yeah. Okay. That shit was so crazy. I remember how DC the towel thing, and then remember how stoked he was and exciting, just whoa, baby, whoa! I just fucking saved so much money by switching to Geico. Serious, like 30% or something. That's a great point you brought up there, Jay. And man, I'm playing the GIF right now of the celebration. DC walking around the cage, the crowd going nuts, and then it pans in on Stipe. And he's waking up, lifting his head up, and they're like, nah, dude, stay down. Stipe wasn't having it, dude. Fucking the ref and everyone tried to keep him down. He's like, boom, got up right away. Fuck that.
Oh man, I tell you what. Not only that, I would love to see the GIF of Brock Lesnar shoving him across the octagon, and then that little short trainer in Cormier's corner shoving Brock right after. The whole thing was a fucking mess, man.
It's like a mosquito fucking with a deer or something. It just didn't even pay any mind, dude. Hold on, I don't think I got that GIF lined up.
Oh shit, it's all good.
I had a bunch
Oh,
of.
what's up? What's up, Jack? What's up, Anzalone? Fucking BLT just jumped in here too. Impulse, what's up, motherfucker?
Oh, and then we even got Raider jumping in the chat. El
Oh
Chapo.
shit.
So who's Jack? Is that El Chapo? Who are you calling Jack?
Oh no. Oh wait, Raider Jap. Actually, that's what I meant to say. I said Jack. I know it sounded like Jack, but I meant to say Jap because they're fucking the last name that she has. But anyway. Oh, the Tamil Corey gift. That is my goat. Oh man, I never forgot about that.
No. All about that chicken. The chicken and the cake. Dude, that's what Derek Lewis was talking about. It's like, why you hate me, Derek, dude? DC has a command of the mic, man. He's really come into that shit. And Derek Lewis has the timing of a or a fucking stand-up comedian, man. Him just waiting that slight little pause, like, you fucking disrespected Popeyes, man. The whole crowd grew a fucking just lit up and cheer. It was crazy.
Oh man, I love the fact that his press conference was more exciting than his actual fight. Oh
Oh,
man.
right. Man, I'm gonna actually hold on. I think we're jumping a little bit ahead. We'll wait on that topic.
All right, good shit.
What's the next little gif I got here? Oh, Boss Logic. Are you fucking kidding me? DC 2 division champion, and he put out a hell of a graphic. And Boss Logic never goes wrong, man. This
Boss
guy.
Logic should do all the UFC posters in the future, actually.
The fucking underground fans have been saying this for like a year or more, man. Back when Connor and everything was around, he was blowing it up like crazy, but when the sport kind of slowed down, he got away from it just a little bit. But whenever there's a big fight, Boss Logic's here. And fucking
Yeah, I hate.
Invicta was the only smart ones. UFC's not even that smart, man. But we know that.
Right. I'm sorry to get off topic, but Raider Jap says some guy's drunk mom wanted to fight me last night. Some people drink way too much at the fights.
That shit's fucking expensive.
Oh man, that's got to be one hell of a bar tab to get that fucked up at a fight.
Raider was,
Oh,
man.
man.
Everyone go follow her on Twitter. You can see views from her seats. That looked pretty good. Or I definitely saw her seat on the TUF finale. And I like those little intimate shows, man. those little tiny ones. Like I'm going to Boise. It's only like 6,000 people. That's gonna be an awesome little card.
Shit, I'm looking forward to that, man. No doubt.
Hell yeah. Yo, so Jay, Raider brings up something that is a pretty big topic of conversation. This whole giant fucking circus that comes with Brock Lesnar. You know, some of the purists want, you know, Alexander Volkov or Curtis Blades or someone should be the next rightful contender. They don't think Brock should get it coming off of a drug suspension and all this shit. And
Right.
then the entertainment people say, dude, it makes all the sense in the world, and let's bring back the fucking salad days. You know, let's go back to the popularity that UFC had back in 2010 through 12 when Brock was around or whatever.
Right. Oh man, I tell you what, the fact that he's getting a chance to fight for the heavyweight championship fresh off of a drug suspension goes to tell you how desperate the UFC is for actual star power. Like, it just smells of desperation. Because if you think about it, if he's going to get a title shot this early, I wonder what they're going to feed John Jones when he comes back. Because we all know he's going to be back. Like, we can all pretty much chalk that one up as a definite. Especially if they're going out for Lesnar like this, there's no question. But it just goes to show, it just goes to show, man, they didn't do too well building up stars when they had the chance, and now they're desperate essentially. This is where we are now.
The people that tell you that the UFC can build stars are out of their fucking mind, dude. We've been the same guys that were big are the same guys that still are big, and we've added a few more here and there, and that's about it. Because I mean, that Chuck Tito fight, dude, that's gonna draw numbers. That's gonna draw big numbers, just like Gracie and Shamrock drew pretty decent numbers with the fucking Dada and Kimbo, and that kind of leads me on to an excellent tweet that I saw by Grabaka Hitman, and this is what he puts out. Talking about the co-main event, he says, that fight made Kimbo versus Dada look like Lawler versus McDonald too.
You know what? The one thing that could be said about Dada versus Kimbo, at least there was an ending to it. It didn't go to the judges. The judges actually had to sit through all this. Like, at least with Dada and Kimbo, we're like, okay, we'll take that. It was a slow motion fall, but it's better than letting the judges having to figure out this mess.
Oh my god, right? Fuck. Serious. Dude, it was almost a no-brainer. Dada Kimbo, the worst fight MMA's ever seen, just about. Yes. And that was over in Bellator, man. And then Mike Jackson versus fucking CM Punk. That was terrible. That was a terrible fight. Jay, which one are you going to rewatch? Terrible.
You know what? I would rather watch the CM Punk one because at least Mike Jackson was toying with them and actually engaging. These two didn't even want to engage. Francis Ngannou looked like he was petrified. And Derek Lewis just looked at him like, are you going to try anything or what?
Yeah.
It was 3 rounds of big guys throwing kicks. That's all it was.
Lewis's back's probably killing his ass. He's out there throwing switch kicks, which isn't helping it. And
right.
And the fucking Ngannou's like, I'm going to counter or just stay really, really far away the whole time.
Steve Sparks says Herb Dean's disgust was the best part of that fight.
Hold on, I think I might have a gif or something of that. Hold on, but real quick, who put this one out? It's John Jones and Daniel Cormier. You're taking everything I roided for, motherfucker. And it's his crying face pasted over Nate Diaz. That was a good one. Who the hell posted that? Oh, it's gone. We lost it.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, I got a new must follow on Twitter. You guys got to follow him. It's _Frank Reynolds. And this guy was going to bring you all the gifts that you crave and deserve. And here it is. It's Herb had to tell these motherfuckers to fight. Yo, guys.
If you don't fight, I'm gonna take a point away.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what he said. If you don't fight, I'm gonna start taking points away. He was right to do it.
Fuck
But that
yeah.
was the best part of the whole thing, and that's sad.
Yeah, minus like just some quick little flurry in like round fucking 3. There's basically no action. Full-time MMA stopping by. DC's the GOAT.
What up, full time? He's technically the GOAT because John Jones is not back. But if John Jones can be clean, which I think we can pretty much say he's never going to be. But since he's not, I guess DC's GOAT by default. Then
Man,
I guess.
pretty
I mean,
much. And
it's hard, man. It's hard to
and
call him. Though.
give me DC. I don't. Okay, so how can I say this? DC and Connor, right? Each 2 division champions.
Right.
But who's done more? You got Connor out here, short notice, Chad Mendez. Short notice, Nate Diaz. Runs it back with Nate. Goes in, takes out fucking Eddie in 1 round. That's all impressive. Goes and makes you fucking a huge payday that you can pay towards that interest loan. Or DC, the company guy who like knows how to build up his upcoming opponents. He's out there giving fucking who was it when Jimmy Manua was coming up, getting some nice winnings. He was building him up. Fucking Ryan Bader was out there. He knew that beef was gonna work for something eventually, and so he was playing with that. Like he knows how to keep a guy in the fold. I don't know, man. That's a hard decision with Connor in DC. Who's the GOAT?
You know what? Full time does make a good point. He said Connor only fought 1 fight at lightweight. He makes more money, but as far as the resume, it's much more impressive with DC because DC's undefeated at heavyweight, and he ruled at lightweight. I mean, at heavyweight, whereas Connor, ruled at featherweight, but fought 1 time at lightweight. So if you do base it off of that, then full time's actually right. If you compare just the 2, DC's definitely more the GOAT because his resume is much more accomplished.
Yeah, and I mean you can't really compare Cage Warriors to Strikeforce. That's not even the same level. But being double champ there, he did get the featherweight and lightweight. Never defended a belt. Came to the UFC. Years and years later, moves up to lightweight again and gets the belt. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, DC always stepping up, facing the next guy up. You gotta fucking commend that shit, man.
That's true, and we haven't seen Conor McGregor do shit like that before. I mean, we have in the past, but when he really started his rise, you didn't see too much of that.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, he's in the news for all the wrong reasons, not the right reasons. Whereas DC's always been consistently performing at a high level, no matter which weight class he's in.
Oh yeah.
So I think you do have to give the nod to DC. At least I know I would. I definitely would.
BLT says it's too early for the MMA GOAT. Boxing didn't have one for 50 years. I think it's you can come with any generation, man. Any generation. And it's all talking points via the media. I don't fucking know, man. Yo, but Colby Covington, I think, put out an excellent tweet. He's also trying to throw a jab at John Jones. DC is the GOAT, undefeated 2 division champ, 21-0, UFC 226 is what he said. So he's just trolling.
He's not. Hey, he's trolling, but he's absolutely right though. That's the funny part about it. He's right.
Right. Take the cheating out of it, which, I mean, Colby's got insider knowledge that John's been cheating since fucking the wrestling days.
And it's funny because it's actually believable.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about the timeline between John Jones and when USADA started, and you look at that run, you can certainly question it. Because once USADA came in, like the Oven St. Preux fight, he won that fight, but he only won because St. Preux broke his arm in like the first round. And he basically fought with the broken arm. And Jones didn't look his best. And then whenever Jones fought DC, there was always controversy behind it. So, you know, you can certainly make an argument for it.
Yeah, and I can see where John's like, you know what, I could not roid and I can beat OSP, but him getting ready for DC, he could just, the psychology in his mind of like, I cannot lose to this motherfucker. This dude's on the desk, he'll never let me live it down.
Shit. Oh man, but I think the good status definitely solidified. What's up though?
What was I gonna say? I don't know. I'm showing a GIF now of Pettis' victory over Chiesa.
Oh man. You know what's so funny? Chiesa said that Pettis should go to Bellator. He yelled that in his face at the weigh-ins, and now Chiesa looks like he should be the one going to Bellator.
You know
It's
what?
like,
Fucking look how close, if you're watching this GIF right now, look how close Chiesa was to getting that title shot before Pettis came along. Fucking Pettis took his title shot chances away. He should sue that motherfucker, dude.
he said, "See you in Bellator, boy." He got choked out.
God damn.
Oh man.
See Chiesa in whatever promotion makes the 165-pound division. The UFC is leaving an opening there that I think someone's going to come and try to fill. No one's really got the deep roster where it makes a lot of sense. But fuck, man, and what was I else was I going to say about this Chiesa fight?
Oh man, I think the fact that he didn't. I think the fact that he came in. Well, he came in at like 157, right?
Yeah, 157 and a half.
Yeah, the fact that he came in so heavy and said, "I'm done at lightweight," I think that says a lot about him. Because at welterweight, I don't know how he would fare. I don't think he'll fare very well.
No, I
He's
don't
easily
either.
a candidate.
Yo, so what about Chiesa versus Felder? These motherfuckers get together and they say, dude, let's fight each other at 170, or let's try and make this 165-pound division.
He would have better. He'd probably have better luck fighting him at 170 because it seems like 165, like it's a perfect fight. But I feel like it's just gonna be. It's just like 165 will be buried in the dust. At least at this point, it will be. Even though you have a lot of guys that are asking for it, but I feel like the UFC isn't quite committed to it yet. So 170 they could get away with it.
Dana's out there saying "fuck you" to the decision. That shit ain't happening for a minute. But man, Jay, you totally called this. You're like, I don't know. If he quit at 157.5 and he said, I'm not even going to try an ounce more, I'm stopping now, you're like, his body shut down. And as I was watching this fight, I was like, God damn it. Fucking Jay totally called that shit.
It's crazy, man. When you get down that low and you just look so depleted, there's no way you're going to have the type of energy you need to perform at a high level. He has to just look like chopped liver out there.
Dude, and this should be on like the not this GIF I'm showing now, the not top 10 Sports Center or whatever, because Kessa's wagging his finger at him like, oh no, 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 and then fucking Pettis is straight right, bam! then choked him out right after that. I love the people who taunt and then get fucked up.
Oh shit.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh man.
Okay. And I guess somehow...
Raider Jack said Showtime Piston is Wheaties.
What? Oh, and Pettis. Nicely done, Raider.
Oh, that's funny. That's really good.
And man, we called this one. We were picking Roundtree for the upset here. I don't even think it was an upset. Just everyone was on Saki's dick. His
This
kickboxing
makes me
dick.
so sad because I love Saki back from K1 days, but in K1, his chin was just nearly cracked. And then when he went to Glory and started fighting Rico Verhoeven, his chin really got destroyed. By the time he came to the UFC, I could tell it was a money move because he had been through so much in kickboxing and he was so aged as a fighter, not even just kickboxer, but as a fighter, that it seemed like UFC was kind of, it was obviously a financial move because they were going to invest a lot in him, but clearly he doesn't belong in there because even in his first fight looked kind of shady. And if you think about it, he had the CM Punk record 0-1 when he debuted in the UFC. They
Mm-hmm.
put all that hype behind him, and he was 0-1. He had already lost a kickboxing fight, an MMA fight like a decade earlier.
Yeah.
So this experiment was destined to fail. I just hate to see this happen to him, but yeah, I had a feeling Roundtree was just gonna destroy it.
Yeah, same here. His whole first fight having to get the victory from coming behind and losing, and then the fact that he's not a giant 185 guy, and you just saw him in Khalil, and I was like, holy shit, he's so much fucking bigger, and the chances of him gassing, I didn't think was gonna be very high. And so yeah, dude, you raised a good point here though with the whole CM Punk comparison because what would you rather, though? Did you want the professional wrestler coming over who's got, like, I don't know, hype and going to sell pay per views, or the kickboxers that got this striking experience? Because I think it was Grabaka Hitman. He's like, man, I never thought I would see the day when Gohan Saki and Israel Adesanya are going to be fighting in the UFC on the same weekend. He's like, I never thought that they'd get these world class strikers into the UFC.
That's the thing, man. Israel Adesanya is the perfect example of a world class striker that's still young enough to evolve his game, but Saki, I think, waited too late in the game for him to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But if but to answer your question though, I would rather have the kickboxer because I know for a fact the wrestler who didn't have any fighting experience, just experience as a stunt person, wasn't going to do too well when it came to an actual fight. So I wouldn't like their chances too much. They would generate hype, but at the end of the day, like I would put him on like if I had to, I'd put him on like a prelim of a fight night card, not opening a pay per view. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you hide a fight like that. You just put on a little fun fight for the fans, put it as a prelim or something, but don't put it on a main card that people have to pay for. That's ridiculous.
Good point. Okay, well, why don't you give the people your breakdown of Felder versus Perry? What the hell did you think of that? In one sec.
Let's see. I gotta say, definitely Perry definitely looked really good in this fight. He looked better than he did before. I can say that. I do agree, Raider. His cardio was definitely on point. He was a lot. He seemed to have better coaching. I could say it's probably the better word for it. He was better coached in this fight.
Wait.
It wasn't one of the situations. Well, okay. So just to recap, I was just saying he seemed like he was much better coached in
Mm-hmm.
this fight because it wasn't his girlfriend screaming her head off that he should kick the guy or some stupid shit like that. He actually had some. He actually had some direction, and
Yeah.
when he has direction, when he's guided in the right place, he actually has a chance because he's naturally tough. He has a strong chin, and I would say overall he definitely has a lot of potential to be something good. It's just that he needs to be steered in the right direction.
Totally. That
So
I
in this fight, I could say he upgraded. He definitely upgraded and survived Felter.
Nice, nice. It, good call though, with not having his girlfriend as the coach and going to Jackson John. That seems to work good. I think he said he's only been there 2 months, so just wait for the improvement. Felder though, man, he fucking that was crazy. What round did he break his arm? That was like round one or two.
Yeah, I think it was. I want to say round two, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the fact that he broke his arm and continued the fight, despite the fact that he had a broken arm and he was bloodied. By the way, he had that nasty gash above his eyebrow. It just shows how much of a warrior he is. So shows that veteran instinct too, because a lot of veterans like to fight it out to the end. Most young guys probably would have quit to try to save their career, but
Mm,
Felder's a true vet of the game.
yeah, man. You asked me what fight am I looking forward to most, and I think that's the one that said because I knew it was gonna be a hell of a fight. I can't believe they didn't get fight of the night bonus. They gave out a bunch of performance of the nights. I think that's fucked up, dude. That's a greedy ass company where you know that
Absolutely.
they made a ton of fucking money and they can't even give out a fight of the night bonus. It's just a couple extra fucking KO bonuses for here and there.
Not only greedy, it's incredibly petty. Like petty is the perfect word for it. Just so petty. They wanted to save it for Derek Lewis and Ngannou, but it didn't happen, so they decided to be all petty about it.
Oh my
Ridiculous.
gosh. That and this is where the PFL is doing the right thing. They're giving you points, so you go for the finish. They got Yamasaki, so maybe someone will die. ACB gives out stoppage bonuses, and when you compare their numbers, because they're a smaller organization, they give out a fight of the night bonus award that's 10K when you compare it to UFC's 50K. And so they do a stoppage bonus for everybody on the card. Doesn't matter if it was a good one or not so good one, of 5K. So as long as you finish your fight 5K, so the pacing's better and it makes for more exciting fights. Why the fuck won't the UFC just do a 25K stoppage bonus and give out more fucking bonuses? It's beyond me, man. It's like the no-brainer to fucking having a more exciting product.
Look, they just want to be cheap and petty, and it's bad. You know it's bad when at the athletes retreat they decided to pay the fighters for all their hard work by giving them a $50 coupon to Reebok. I mean a 50% off coupon at Reebok. Like that's so petty. That's a
Yeah.
big slap in the face.
Have a Coke, a smile, a coupon, and shut the fuck up.
Like that's like some old mafia shit right there. Just take this coupon and don't say shit.
Oh my god. Yo, we got
Oh,
food stamp MMA in the chat. I love that shit.
so fucked up, man.
Paulo Smash. Man, okay, what was I gonna let's talk about
WMIMG, yeah, probably. BLT's right. You could probably blame WMUIMG for that too. That there aren't bigger bonuses.
mm, man, I don't know. You've been a fan forever, I can assume, Jay. I remember when this shit was more than 50K. Sometimes it was 75K. Sometimes it was 100. Sometimes 65. Fucking Brian Caraway was out here negotiating extra bonuses, and then fucking ratted someone out for like popping for weed so he could get a bonus in the long run or some nonsense. I don't know. But yeah,
I remember. I tried to be a little weasel about it.
yeah. The fucking
Karma came back on him when Johnny Nunez knocked up Misha. So Karma came back for that.
yeah, man, that sucks. Peace out, Brian. Well, Brian, when are you gonna
Peace.
fight again, dude? Inevitably on Fight Pass. Me and Jay want to do one of your calls, brother. You're pretty good. You got good skills. But let's
Might as
talk
well.
about Uriah Faber versus the Eraser.
Oh man. First of all, Uriah Hall actually
Or
he
yeah,
did,
Uriah Hall.
did good in the first round. It's all good. I get them mixed up too. But Uriah Hall, he did good in the first round. But what's crazy is it was like the more I thought about it, the more it seemed like okay, Paulo was just waiting for the right opportunity to go in for the kill because he knew Uriah was gonna cover up once Uriah was really hurt. And I think we called this one, man. This was a destruction of Uriah Hall right here. He's not going to be a contender anymore, man. Costa just put an end to it for good in a very violent fashion. I would have to say probably stoppage of the night, in my opinion. Definitely stoppage of the night. Other than DC and Stipe, I would have to give that one consideration too.
Mm-hmm. What I saw, man, was Uriah trying to fucking be the more technical guy, kind of hit and move, and Eraser wasn't having none of that, dude. He's like, nah. I'll find a little opening and I'll blitzkrieg your ass, get you up against the fence, and just go at it. And that's what he did. It was impressive. That guy's so freaking big for the division. Is he
Huge,
the one
man.
that used to dress up as Hulk, or is that someone else?
I thought that was Curitiba, but I think it was him. I think it was Costa. I could be wrong though. Not Curitiba. Fuck. What was that guy's name? I can't think of his name. But it was either him or Costa. But anyway, I think it might have been Costa. But he definitely looks like USADA's like on his ass though. I would love to see the test results after this. After they come out for this, I would love to know that he passed, because if he passes, man, he's going to be a problem.
Oh man, I guess they got a highlight of Felder leaking all over the place after he took that hit. It was crazy how that glove just sliced him open.
Yeah, man. He gave him like a nasty looking cut too, and just it created a very bloody scene for a good moment of the fight. But yeah, look at that. Ah, man. Fuck. So much blood down his face. And his arm was already broken by then, so Felder had a rough night.
Raider says USADA's licking their chops when they see Costa. And then
you know it. They're trying to figure out whatever cocktail he's on, because clearly they don't test for whatever he's on, but they're gonna find it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way he's passed drug test anytime soon. They're gonna be on his ass.
Fucking USADA has just let us down in all the ways that we thought it was gonna help, and then fucked us over. Fucked over all the weed guys, and then let out all the real cheats somehow. Just kind of, what? We'll just put that under the rug. Brock Lesnar, you pop for Mark Hunt. How about a title shot? Let's go.
How about that? And you know they're going to do the same thing to John Jones when he comes back.
Oh, I was going to say this, but I forgot. Dana White was at the press conference and said, they're like, what about Brock? Last time, his last fight in the UFC was a no contest, and now you're going to throw him into a title shot? How you justify that, Dana? And he's like, well, I mean, he beat Mark Hunt. We saw that. He beat him.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Hold up. Yeah, he beat him, but did you look at the test results after he beat him? He wasn't clean. Like, I don't know why Dana White would even try to go back to that. That's that classic promoter talk right there. Don King would be proud of him.
But it almost makes me think, dude, is making it no contest enough? Should the other guy get the victory out of something like that? Because I don't know.
He should not only get the victory, he should get all of the money he made from that night, because that's a disgrace.
Yeah, I totally agree with Mark when he was going after his money like a motherfucker.
Absolutely. I would have went after that money too. I would have went after the whole purse, not just a percentage, but the whole thing.
Dude, all right, quick tangent. Let's talk about Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt really wants to, I don't know, fight out his contract and then renegotiate and or fight in the Japanese / like South Pacific scene. He said he wanted to be in that area. I could see there's a ton of promotions promoting down there. Where do you want to see him fight at, Jay Smooth? Or where do you want him to go, and where do you think he's going to go? Two different answers.
And we're talking about who again?
Mark Hunt.
Just remind me. Mark Hunt? Okay. I can tell you where he should go. He would be loved in Ryzen. Mm-hmm. He would be loved there because of the pride, because of the ties that he has to Pride and his Pride career when he used to kickbox and stuff and do MMA down there. Let's see. ACB, Probably because that crazy dictator likes to hang out with a lot of MMA legends. So if Mark Hunt and Chris Weidman were paid to fly over there, I don't see why Katarov wouldn't shell out money for Hunt. So ACB is a possibility, and I think he'd be respected over there. Um, let's see, Asia KSW, he would definitely be respected there, just because of his Samoan ties, probably. That and the fact that they have pride rules over there, so Mark Hunt could easily stomp people in the head if he wanted to. And
Mm-hmm.
really, I would say those are probably his top three, because only thing Bellator would offer him is money. Bellator's okay, but it's like they wouldn't give him the respect that, say, a Ryzen or an ACB or one championship show. I think Ryzen would probably be number one on my list just because of his connection to Pride FC.
Yeah, totally. And he's got one of those name stays of a name, a Crow Cop. Mark Hunt. When you take those two, Crow Cop had a bigger name going into the UFC, but who produced more? Who did more in the UFC, dude? It was Mark Hunt all day long. He's the walkaway KO walkaway king, and you go to fucking look at the 10 to 12 shows that UFC's put on down in Australia. Mark Hunt has been on more than half of them, and he's headlined more than half of them. Basically, we got Robert Whitaker and Daniel Hooker and all these guys because Mark Hunt. In my fucking, as far as I look at it, man, I would love to see him in the Japanese scene over in Risen. I would love that.
Absolutely. I would love to see him there too, just because the rule set I think fits what he wants to do more as well. Because they kind of welcome Pride rules if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, the Japanese fans would show him the type of respect and admiration he doesn't get in the States. He would definitely be treated better over there.
Dude, he gets it over in like Australia, New Zealand, though. You definitely see it. That crowd over there shows it to him. But man,
Absolutely.
people who bring up records and shit, and they're like, "Oh, Mark Hunt's record sucks." We're like, I give you a ton of guys who his record sucks, but he's still a legend. Like BJ Penn, look at his record. Randy Couture, look at his record. And then, sadly to say, but Brock Lesnar, that guy's got like a 5-3 record or something, but he's got great fucking victories out there. Yo, so
What's up?
Jay, is there any other fight you want to highlight on the card?
Um, hmm. Let me think.
Let
Let me kind of think. Yeah, let's kind of pull it up a
I
bit.
had one more.
Oh, I thought this was interesting. Yeah, this highlight was interesting. The fact that the girl went over to Vinny Magalhaes and just said "screw you"
Yeah.
and flipped him off. I thought that was very interesting. I was like, "Dang, Vinny, what did you like?" A lot of people don't respect Vinny Magalhaes. I noticed that he's a butt of a lot of jokes.
I don't know. I seen him fight David Branch, and he lost a close fight there. And then what? He was in like the Contender Series. Where the fuck was Vinny Magalhaes recently? PFL? Where was he fighting?
I think he was in PFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was PFL. Now that you mention it.
When I think of Vinny Magalhaes, all I think of is Renato Hanaljo or whatever. Fucking making some joke, freaking up Vinny Magalhaes.
I will never forget it. He did something. He did some kind of skit with Cyborg where he talked. He said, "I'm not a bum." He said, "Sweetheart, you can date me because I'm not a bum like Vinny Magalhaes."
Dude, okay. When I'm looking for some funny videos to end my streams with, I'm gonna go get some of those because he's fucking hilarious.
Oh man, he's too funny. I love all of his skits.
Raider says after Risen, Japan Pro Wrestling for Mark Hunt probably.
Oh, absolutely. Not WWE, but New Japan Pro Wrestling. He'd definitely be loved over there too, just to do like skits and stuff, or even get maybe do a match or two. It'll probably sell out just because of who he is.
Okay. What are the gifts do I got here? We'll run through the gifts and then highlight anything else on the card we want. Well, fuck it. That's all I got for 226. Let's talk about TUF. Israel Adesanya ups his record to 14-0, enacting a commanding and stylish striking performance. An 8-ranked Brad Tavares. Over 5 rounds, the former Glory challenger proves his mettle in more ways than just kickboxing. Now the sky's the limit. And man, yeah, he showed fucking some good takedown defense and shit. He didn't get the victory. But did we touch on this, Jay Smooth? I don't know if we talked about this.
We didn't actually. Well, we talked about it briefly, but we didn't dig into it. I was impressed with Israel because he neutralized Tavares from the beginning. Not only did he close up his eye with all those jabs he was throwing, he kicked his leg out. He kicked out Tavares' lead leg to the point where it was red. He couldn't plant. He turned into a panic wrestler and went for takedowns that Israel could stuff with ease. He just outclassed him. He made Tavares look like an amateur. And it was actually interesting to watch.
Yeah. I mean, does it show the lack of depth in the 85 and 205 pound division as well? Because I mean, they got really good guys there at the top, but once you drop down to the 6 through 15, it starts getting a little shaky.
Yeah, I figured that, man. Like, especially at 85 right now, it's very shallow. It was to the point where they're letting Kelvin Gastelum get a title shot next. And Kelvin Gastelum's a welterweight. Let's be honest, he's a welterweight, and he's fighting a weight class up because he can't make weight.
I totally agree. He's in my 175 pound weight class. I want to give him 5 pounds of tacos and burritos to eat, but he needs to get that shit under control, man. Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
So let's look at this. Okay, so he was at 8. Uriah Hall was at 9. Paulo Costa was at 10. But who did they drop from the rankings? Someone moved from 9 earlier. Thiago Santos is up there. Yo, so, dude, they were so, real quick, I thought about this. They were so committed to the Brock bit that they had a backup fight. Alexander Volkov was sitting there. No matter if DC or Stipe fell out, okay, someone has to get a win here. Volkov's here as a sacrifice, and fucking Brock's going to come in and call out DC or Stipe. Like, that was planned way in advance. And or, also, Ngannou was in the sweepstakes for Brock. That's why Brock mentioned him out of his mouth. Pretty much, Brock was brought in there. We got this guy on Twitter who talks massive amounts of shit. He's awesome. People love him. All the hardcores love him. You got Ngannou, a scary, huge motherfucker. Or the super fight over here. Brock, come in and take your pick, brother. And that's what they told him. And he can't, because he calls out the heavyweights. This heavyweight fucking shit sucked.
He said Ngannou was a piece of shit. He said Miocic was a piece of shit. He said he's gonna fuck DC up. I love how he didn't even bother mentioning Derek Lewis at all. He just didn't even bother.
Because, yeah, think of it. He didn't know Lewis's name, but he knew of Ngannou because everyone would be like, oh, look how crazy it would be. The 2 biggest guys we've ever seen, the most muscular, going up against each other. That's really what they want. They just want a KSW strongman competition fight, man. Give it to them. Fuck it.
Might as well. I mean, hey, look, Brock Lesnar is coming straight off a drug suspension. Does not deserve to fight for a championship. Let DC, like, who do you let DC fight then? Who do you let DC fight?
Dude, there's nobody for DC. There's
because John Jones is going to be out for a little while. He's going to come back, but he's still going to be out for a bit. And really, there is nobody else.
What's another promotion that's got a good light heavyweight?
Oh, let's see. Good light heavyweight.
That dude who beat Khalidov in KSW. What the fuck was his name? Nurkin or something, I think is his last name.
It sounds familiar. I do know. I do remember that name. I'm
Oh
trying to think.
shit! Hold up, hold up, hold up. What about that
Oh, you
Russian
know what?
fighter? That Russian
You know.
heavyweight who's 21-0, dude. Vitaly Menkov or whatever, the one that
Oh, that's
Bellator's
right.
gotten under
Yeah,
contract.
he's a good one. I actually just thought of one. Actually,
Okay.
from one FC, they could bring in Ang La Sang, who's the light heavyweight champion over there.
Versus DC, no. DC would destroy him. No, I don't want to see that.
Oh shit.
I don't know. DC, he's only got a couple more, so it's got to be some
DC,
giant.
well, I actually agree. No, I actually agree with you. DC would destroy him, but I feel like Sang would be good enough at 205 to at least be a contender.
Okay, so we got to talk about this real quick. Let's bring up this guy, Vitaly Menkov, the dude who fights for Eurasian Fight Nights, which is now like Fight Nights Global, and their oligarch is under like they took him to jail or whatever the fuck, and he's also under contract with Bellator, but Scott Coker won't pay him any money. But I think they're waiting for the heavyweight fucking Grand Prix to be over, and then maybe they can justify paying him enough to come back. But this guy's 21-0, and technically couldn't fight in the UFC because he's under contract with Bellator. What can the UFC offer to Bellator to get this contract?
How much is he owed? Technically. Or how many years does he have left?
I've got no idea. I don't think anyone knows anything about like the true shit. Let's say it's
Alright.
3 fights,
Well,
but they're not paying him
okay.
enough money,
Okay.
so that's why he's not fighting here. So, but
Okay.
you're gonna get Bellator contract, so you're basically offering Bellator a fighter or two or whatever you think.
You know what? My best guess would probably be to try to buy him out, but I don't think they buy out contracts like that unless they really want the person. So my suggestion would be send somebody from the UFC that you don't want to Bellator, and in exchange, like a light heavyweight you don't want, and in exchange you just bring him up on a one fight deal to see how he does in his debut. And if you like him, then you sign. You give him like a 4 fight deal or something. You give him a long term one.
Yeah.
So I say if you're gonna do it, just swap him out. Like send one to Bellator and bring him up to take the guy's spot, like a light heavyweight that you don't want anymore. If you're
Mm-hmm.
if yeah, if you're gonna do it that way.
I'm gonna have to think about this. I think who could they give to Bellator? Who's roiding? Who's not doing good anymore? That wants out, or allegedly. Because we
You know
always hear.
what? You know who would be good? I think Jimmy Manuwa would be good for Bellator because his best days as a contender are kind of gone.
Mm.
He got knocked out by, was it Serkinov? Somebody knocked him out in a short amount of time. And he got knocked out brutally before that. I think Manuwa would actually thrive in Bellator as a light heavyweight.
Kenshiro is saying, "Yo, didn't you pick Stipe before the fight?" Fuck yeah, we did. I lost big time on that goat milk pickup chat. He said, there's no room on the fat DC train for you two latecomers."
Well, good, because when John Jones comes back and beats him again, I won't want to be part of it.
Oh,
Oh.
I wonder if he's gonna make it
So,
back before DC retires.
Kenshiro's happy taking a victory lap because he bet money on DC, most
Ni-
likely.
Nicely done, Kenshiro. You know what? I'll throw this out there since we're on the topic a little bit. DC, I think he could be the next president of the UFC. I think because he's a promoter at heart, man.
Hmm. Next president of the UFC.
Instead of Dana White's curmudgeon ass. When he's got to go, you're still going to need a big figurehead. Someone who's widely known. making it an X fighter. I just think, I don't know, for it to be DC, times might have to change and fighters might have to start getting a better fair shake at that point in time.
That's true, man. Okay, so as far as being a promoter and president, I could see that because he does know how to promote a fight well. Um, but my thing is though, like Dana White, thing about Dana White is he has that mafia background in him, so he's not afraid to say controversial shit and go over the line. I don't know if DC has it in him to promote, but I don't know if he has it in him to push lines and fuck with people the way Dana White does. Because he does it in a very smug sort of way that you kind of have to be born with. And I don't know if DC's born with that quality because he's a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're a promoter, let's face it, like a guy like, even if you're a manager like Ali Alabiz, have you seen that guy's rap sheet?
Yeah,
Man's a criminal.
he's
He's done
allegedly
everything from
known for
fraud.
all types of
Oh,
shit.
yeah. I know, from fraud to robbery to even assaulting people in stands at MMA events. Man is a rap sheet. You have to be a certain type of person to be involved in in the promotion aspect of fighting. If you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if even though DC's a legend, I don't know if he has that gene in him because he's not evil like that. And you have to be evil to a
Could
certain
he?
degree.
Could DC be smart enough to get the anti-DC? He'd be like, all right, I gotta get my fucking. I'm the good cop. I gotta get a bad cop to run this bitch as well. Yo, but
Probably.
BLT says Chael running Bellator and DC running the UFC.
Chael, I could see running any promotion because he definitely has that in him to be an asshole. He
Hmm.
just has it in him to be that. DC, I don't know if he has it in him to run the UFC like that, but you're right. If he was in that position, he would have to hire someone who's a bad cop because he's not a bad cop. He's had to struggle his whole life, so he's a bit humbled if you think about it. Probably too humble for that type of position.
Yeah, good point. I was just thinking promoter wise. He,
Oh yeah,
you bring up good points though, Jay Smooth. Man, I'm looking at this guy Vitali's record though, and every single his last 5 fights, they've all six,
yeah.
seven fights all ended by finish, and he went to a decision with Czech Congo, but still beat him. Beat Alexander Volkov, who was about ready to get a title shot in the UFC.
I gotta tell you, man. I'm like just now that you show me his resume, I've never seen it before. That's pretty impressive.
Fucking A, dude. And like
Damn.
Bellator hasn't paid him since Bellator 115 in 2014. Jesus, dude, that was 4 years ago, Bellator. The fuck?
Damn. That's crazy.
And this promotion blew up in the meantime. I think they had Emelianenko fight one time. Yeah, right here.
They had a Emelianenko fight.
They went to
Um
Dagestan.
they had Nikita Krylov as the light heavyweight champion. Paul Harris fought there and got. I think he destroyed some guy's leg over there. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure. And yeah, so they've actually had some names go through fight nights.
but this shit, fight nights. Something went down with one sec, Jay. Something went down with their oligarch, and so like they haven't had a show since. Everything on the future schedule is now gone, and UFC is going to Moscow, and supposedly, what's his name, Misha Serkinov or whatever, the guy that they accidentally let go, is in talks of coming back.
I'd say they probably should jump on him now. Now's a better time than any.
Fucking A. I want that. I want them to do so good in Russia. They need to stack these cards with all the fucking local guys. They got Mirbek Tasimov, who's always having visa issues coming into the UFC. They got fucking like 3 other good lightweights. That Rashad guy that faced Benson Henderson. He's been on a pretty good tear.
Right. I think it's crazy that the Moscow main event. What was it? Volkov and Blades, or was that Wait, am I wrong in that?
No, it was gonna be Doom.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. It was Verdum because he got caught by USADA again.
Wasn't it against Alexei Olenek? Is what they were gonna do?
I thought it was Volkov. No, not
Because
Volkov.
Volkov was holding out, and it was
Okay, so it might have been Olenek then. Yeah, it might have
yeah.
been Olenek.
He's
Okay.
coming off of all those Ezekiel chokes, and he's got like 50 wins. That dude's no joke. But then and you know that's the whole Fedor thing too. Fucking Fabricio beat Fedor. They want to see him lose. That's why that was going to be a great fight. He got fucked up. And then Andrei Arlovsky is on the card now versus somebody. Shamil or something.
Oh, Shamil Amirabdurahirov or whatever the fuck his name is.
I think so.
Can't even pronounce it. Something Russian. Something Russian.
What are we missing in the chat, though? What are they talking about? I'm jumping around topics. Anyhow, guys, long story short, whether DC fights Brock or not, how about DC's 21-0 if you don't count the John Jones shit? He could be fucking... Oh, Jay Smooth, I got some shit over your face. He could fight this other 21-0 guy. That would be crazy. Just nobody knows about him. That would be something that, like, the UFC brings their first pay-per-view there. DC's last farewell fight. I could see DC being a company guy like that.
Yeah, I can see him doing that.
Or
I mean,
not on
go ahead.
pay-per-view. They just do it on ESPN on, like, Sunday morning. ESPN Sunday morning, live event, title championship. Because you know they're going to throw something crazy on ESPN when the deal starts.
Oh, they will. I think, yeah, if they're going to do, like, when the ESPN deal kicks in, they're definitely going to do, like, a free title fight probably the first night, like the first card they put on there, just to try to bring people in. So if you're going to have a first title fight, why not have it be DC's last?
Yeah. And if you're going to do something like that, I think if you're going to hit two birds with one stone, do it over in Russia as well, where you know you can't do a 7 p.m. start time. So do it on like Sunday morning or something crazy.
Right. It actually wouldn't be a bad move. And if anything, a Sunday morning would be perfect to watching fight, at least over here in the States. It'd be good for us. I don't know how it would be for people in the UK though, but I know in the States it'd be good for us.
Well, yeah, it'd be their nighttime on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Those guys are crazy anyways, dude. They're usually up till like 5 a.m. Alright, we'll get a little bit back on topic here, though. What do we got? The Israel Adesanya highlight was the last thing we were hitting on TUF. You want to show anyone else love from the TUF fights? Let me get them pulled up here.
There's the guy, excuse me, that looks like fucking Bob Ross. What's his name?
I think it's Pena or Lena?
Pena? Oh, Pena. Okay.
I don't know how you pronounce it.
I have no idea either, but he actually looked really good the way he dismantled that guy. It's funny because you need marketable people, and you look at people like him and Sean O'Malley.
Later, Raider.
Those two, peace, Raider. Those two actually come to mind as people that have a very good marketability to come out of like the TUF series and the Contender series. Guys like that, who I guess have a bit of a marketable look and marketable attitude. Pena is definitely an example of one that could go far. No question.
Nice pick. I like that a lot. Yeah, and I fell asleep. This shit in the middle of the main card. I think I saw the Marquez fight, and then I passed out. Apparently, the Caceres Bravo fight was good. I'm going to go back and watch that. But that
would be a good watch.
This Mershart guy, too, choked him completely unconscious. I want to show that guy some love. Gerald Mershart. Tale of two rounds that fight was.
Absolutely.
All right. Go for it, Jay.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you, man. I was impressed with what I saw. I'd never seen him fight before, and I walked away wanting to see him fight again.
Mm, definitely.
And yeah, there are not too many fighters I can say that about, but I was definitely impressed with his. I'm glad you brought him up. I almost forgot about him though, but he's one I'd like to look into. At least see fight again. That is.
And then Sun Tzu, dude. This guy's never gonna get his shot at bantamweight, right? He's 11-1. I think he's 1-1 with fucking TJ right now. Isn't that how it went? And his one win over him was a split decision or some
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, it was a controversial win, Assunção over Dillashaw, but the second fight, Dillashaw dominated him so bad that you wouldn't even thought he lost to him the first time they fought. You would have
Oh
never
yeah.
thought about it. But I guess technically, from the record and the streak, you would have to give Assunção at least in the conversation now.
With
Just from where bantamweight is right now.
right, so they're gonna run back TJ and Cody as long as nothing happens, and so in reality, you got Dominic Cruz is always on the doorstep. Marlon Moraes is fucking blowing people up right now, and he's got a better shot at it than Rafael, even though Rafael just beat him by a split decision.
How about that? I was gonna say it seems like Marias is gonna get the next consideration, but
Uh-huh.
if you
I
think
would
about,
agree
because
with that.
but because of the yeah, I would say Marlon probably gets it first. The Suncel's probably next in line after that. Just the way things stack up right now.
Dude, they're gonna go to Dominic and be like, you wanted to face the Sun Sal? And he's like, fuck no, I don't want a Sun Sal, dude. Because he's holding out for a massive fight, and that makes all the sense in the world. Okay, if Maurice is on deck, he should actually be preparing for 227 right now. Marias. If they're smart, he's fucking there getting ready for that shit. I know he cuts a ton of weight, so it would suck for him, but be best to have someone that could slip right in there. Are they ever gonna learn their lesson? Are we gonna start keep are we gonna get people on deck anymore?
You would think they would have learned this years ago, but it seems as if they love to do this thing where they throw all their eggs in one basket and hope for the best, but it just backfires so much. And it doesn't make any business sense to do that anyway.
Fuck. Come on, UFC, get your shit together. Oh, I want to shout out Max Griffin. That's going to be the one thing I'm going to bring up off 226. He had a close fight with Curtis Melinder. He was coming off the victory over Mike Perry. He shoved down on the fucking prelims, and I thought he won that fight against Curtis Melinder. Even though I picked Curtis, I think Max won that one. So I did just want to say that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely close, but I was kind of shocked Melender won. I definitely lost that fight. I thought Max Griffin would take it, but not bad. It definitely was on shaky ground though.
Mm, definitely. I I couldn't even tell you I paid attention 100%. So I don't know how solid I am on that shit. Um, so Flow Combat posted something from Lion Fight 43. What a performance from Michael Pham, capped off by a highlight reel finish. Some Muay Thai shit, and what's he end up doing here? Left high kick,
Oh,
left
damn.
high kick again.
Oh, shit.
Oh, the spinning back elbow.
Oh, that
Wow.
hurts. That hurts.
And I don't love watching kickboxing,
Oh,
but
fuck.
when when I get to see just the highlights like
Shit.
this shit's so fucking awesome.
I admit, I'm a guy that watches kickboxing, and it's rare when you see. Oh, shit. Usually you see that with people who are less experienced than the guy they're fighting. Like they
Mhm.
usually find some they'll find some guy with like a 9 to 5 job that does kickboxing at a local gym, and he'll try to get in there because he beat up a few bums, and then he faces like a real veteran, and they just get brutally knocked out. That's usually how this works.
Mm.
It's always because there's just too many levels to kickboxing. Same thing with Muay Thai.
Yeah, I watch as much Glory as I can. They've been like only showing you the prelims on Fight Pass though, and then you gotta buy the pay-per-view. I remember
Yeah,
watching that.
that's where they screw up.
Yeah,
That's
that
where they really screw it up at.
Verhoeven versus Badahari fight though. That Badahari's fans are fucking crazy. They almost look like they were paid to do what they were doing, causing a fucking riot. And then,
Well,
and then
well, the thing it's funny because Badr Hari, to kind of give you like a background and history on the guy,
mm-hmm.
he literally has attitude problems, and this goes back to his days in K1. He's always been known to throw tantrums, get extremely violent, and he also has a long list of assaults, mainly nightclub assaults. And actually, one he knocked out a politician in a nightclub, and he stomped out another guy half to death in the street. Like he legitimately has attitude problems,
Oh
and
shit.
I will never forget when he had a rivalry with Alistair Overeem in K1. This was like when K1 was on its not on its last legs, but it was toward the point where they were on its last legs. And it's funny because that rivalry was interesting. They were supposed to have a kickboxing match and then have an MMA fight, Badr Hari and Alistair Overeem. They have their first kickboxing fight, and Alistair Overeem knocks him out. And Badr Hari is so embarrassed, he throws a fit backstage and he refuses to fight Overeem in MMA. And to this day, they've never done it. And they were supposed to do it many times, but he's always refused. And that's kind of the thing about Badr Hari. That's like the story of him. He's always been a guy that never reached his full potential despite being amazingly gifted. And he never achieved that potential because he always had an attitude problem. So when you see him acting like a psychopath, understand that's really him.
Mm.
That's really who he is. He's always his nickname is the Golden Boy, and it's impartially because he acts like a spoiled child.
Oh
That's
shit.
mainly the reason he has it. Yeah. So he always has he just has that crazy history behind him. So when you see him acting like that, it's legitimate. The fact that he's older though, he looks like he's on steroids because he never used to be as big as he is now. He was always a very skinny guy.
Oh damn.
So yeah. So question marks with Badr Hari continue, but as far as Glory goes, there's not too much to be excited about it in general because Rico Verhoeven just destroys everybody, but he doesn't knock everybody out. He just, he's very technical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, unless you're a kickboxing fan, it's a very boring thing to watch because he's not trying to knock people out. The Bigfoot Silva fight, however, should have never happened because he abused Bigfoot Silva. It was it was a lot like elder abuse if you think about it. It was just plain old elder abuse. Like you could tell Silva was doing it for the money. And they did it in China, which goes to tell you there was no athletic commission to oversee a lot of this. So yeah, Glory's always been a company that's made some sketchy decisions, but they've never tried to market their product to be more than what it is, and that's why it's not as popular in the States. And I get it too. I'd rather watch MMA than kickboxing, but hey, at the end of the day, I like kickboxing, but MMA is much better of a product to watch. Just as a fan, it is.
The one championship has been mixing them in, MMA and kickboxing. Only like 2 or 3 per like card. Usually they'll do kickboxing, and I can be a fan of that. Especially they were doing it in the MMA gloves. I think I saw a kickboxing fight with MMA gloves.
Didn't they do that in one? You said in ONE FC, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of when they did it? Yeah. It's weird because normally the gloves in kickboxing are like regular boxing glove size. For most, yeah, like Glory, and like doing it with fingerless gloves is new. It's a new way to bring excitement to it. At least ONE FC is trying something different. Like they're trying to make it interesting. Because you can easily be a kick and runner and just hide behind your gloves all the time. What's up, though?
Pulse, what else do you know? Do you have a location or a date? Let me know on that. He says
Oh,
Blades versus Volkov is a rumor.
oh shit.
Wonder if that's going to headline Moscow. Or go to 227, that one, or not 227, 228. They got to start building that card.
Hmm. I have a feeling that might be from Moscow because it doesn't have a main event yet, does it?
No. Yo, I got a little bit more to show you from the weekend, though. This is
What's that?
MMAtoday.com posted this shit. And apparently, some of Risen's stars competed in Shudo Boxing Girl S Cup series.
Hmm.
Rina Kabuta got a fucking check this highlight out, man. You're gonna
All
love
right,
this
I'm
one,
looking
Jay.
at you. I can see it.
Okay, let's go big. This is what we need in MMA, man. Soccer kicks,
Oh my god.
kicks to the downed opponent. It makes it so much
Shit.
better, so much better.
Wow. Damn. It's bad enough that she got it while she was down, but when she got up and just took it directly onto the face, almost like her face is. Oh my goodness.
This is what MMA needs, dude. Okay, so if you got kicks and knees on the
Agree.
ground, when you're the guy on top and side control, laying on top of a guy, you can now knee him in the face. That guy is gonna be way more worried and trying so much harder to get out of that position, and we're gonna see amazing finishes too.
I agree with that. I tell you what, and I agree. Post reloaded. Head kicks are fun. So if you allow them on the ground like this, why not? You're probably gonna see a lot more knockouts that way too.
You should be able to upkick your opponent no matter if he has a knee on the ground, a foot on the ground, or whatever the fuck. I don't care, dude. You're the dude in a vulnerable position on the bottom. That's a crazy rule.
I mean, if you're allowed to upkick your opponent on the ground, you should. I mean, well, like while you're on your back, you should be able to kick him in the face while you're standing over him. That should be a rule.
Yeah, and then, okay,
Sure.
so shoutouts to her. She's one of Risen's stars over there. She didn't quite come through the champion in the last tournament that they did, but she did decent. And then King Ringa, the one that's got the freaking little bell, or I don't even know what you call it, dude.
Hmm.
She's got this whole gimmick where she wears a crown and everything. And what else? But check this out, dude. She had a fight, a brawl for the ages with
Damn.
this chick. This looks like
Damn.
Don Fry, fucking Yamamoto or whatever his name was, from 15 years ago.
What? This girl.
Yes.
Oh man. She's taking so many hits to the face though. She's trying to fight back. The girl in the black is trying to, but she's taking too many punches.
Dude, who was doing that over the weekend? They were throwing close elbows on that fool.
Are you kidding me? It's ridiculous.
JBH jumping in the chat.
What's up, JBH? Are you hungover? I guess she's not anymore. That would be my guess. She seemed to handle it well.
They quit drinking at the correct time. They got the right amount of shots in and stopped because it was gonna be. It could have got brutal. I remember.
I'll tell you what. It's too bad they weren't drink. I don't know if they were really drinking during the co-main event, but they probably should have been. It would have been more enjoyable that way. That fight was fucking terrible.
Right. There almost should have been. We all should have went into that fight and said, okay, for every round that this continues, we all have to take a shot because it shouldn't go to a decision. There's no way this is gonna go to a decision, and then we all would have got hammered because it went to the decision.
Oh man, crazy fight. What's good though? What else you got on tap?
They atom weight, says Frank Bavon. King Ringa? No, dude, this girl's big, isn't she? I thought she's like 145s or some shit.
They do look small. Well, they do look kind of small though. So my guess was like 115. But they do look small as hell.
Oh, and she wins, but it was close. And this is Joel Asandra on Twitter. Joel Asanda. You gotta follow this guy. He's fucking got the best gifts. Not the alright, top 5. I don't even know who's got the best. Kyle Johnson. What else did he bring us? Just a couple more highlights, Jay.
I'm good. Let's do it.
Oh, this was from TUF. Barb Honchak won last night to finish. Wait, was the last woman to finish Roxanne Modafferi. Now Roxanne is the first to finish Honchak. This is one that I missed while I was asleep.
This one was crazy. I saw this one live, man. She hit her with way too many shots. Like the fight should have been stopped. Like I'd say about after the 4th or 5th punch. But look at her though. This girl's not even attempting. She's defending herself, but she's not even attempting to fight back. She is clearly giving up. And Roxanne just tees off. God, those fucking elbows. Damn.
Let's make sure we're correct, Jay. This lady, she's 38.
38?
Yeah, Barb.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she did look old as hell. That's right. I thought she was like 31, but damn.
38.
38 years old taking brain damage like that. That won't help.
Fuck. Who would report? Kyle? Kyle Johnson, Maldo, Babo. Who with the report, said BLT. I think that's what he meant by that. Well, shit, that's all the shit I got from Twitter. Apparently there's breaking news going on right now that me and you aren't paying attention to.
Oh, what's up?
I don't know. They're talking about those fight announcements, and then there's a rumor that Pettis is flagged by USADA. Have you seen any of this?
No, I didn't even hear about it. I didn't even look through Twitter. I looked through Twitter and shit, and all the shit that I know, well, get my news from. But no, I didn't see shit about that.
Oh, the stream doesn't like to load my Twitter. Well, shit, Jay. You got anything else you want to hit on before we jump out of here?
I think we hit everything. If you think about it, I think we did cover everything.
Nice.
At least everything we cover for now.
I agree. Well, Jay Smooth, next week I'll be at Boise, so unfortunately we won't have any Fight Pass and Chill for that. But what?
Right.
And then I don't think there's a PFL this Thursday either. I think that waits till next Thursday. I could be.
Yeah.
I could be wrong there though.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I believe you are correct.
They're headed to Long Island, whenever the hell they go.
You're going to Boise for the card?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Good stuff. So you're gonna see the debut of Ivanov from World Series of Fighting. Well, now PFL, but you're gonna see his debut against JDS. That's good stuff.
Yeah, he's like 18-1 or some shit coming over. That's a good signing by the UFC. And JDS.
He was a champion. Yeah, he was a champion, I believe, right? The last heavyweight champion before they branded.
I think so.
Oh man.
But what else about that? I'm almost positive. I can almost guarantee it right now that that's gonna be in a small cage. That's the only fight on the card that's any higher than like 185 pounds, really, or 170. And so I'm pretty sure they're doing the small cage. That one's definitely going to end in the finish. I'm excited for that shit. And then Darren Elkins versus Alexander Volkanovski. I don't know how the fuck this fight did not get bumped up to the main card when Felder and Vic got pulled. Like, they got wedged in on the fucking, what's it called? On the prelims anyhow. I was like, alright, you want to throw Sage Northcutt on the main card, whatever, I get it. I hate you for it, but I get it. And then Felder and them get pulled and they still don't bump him up. What do you think of this bullshit, Jay? Trying to pull up the card right now for us.
I feel like they kind of neglected the card a little bit, or at least neglected the value in the fighters that they book on the card. They probably just think, "Oh, you guys will be nice filler," without even without even really looking into how good of a matchup it'll actually be. They just, I guess, they don't look too in depth into it. They just sort of throw people together.
Dude, I don't want filler on my main fucking card. I want the most exciting shit you got.
Exactly.
Put your filler on the prelims. That way, actually, everyone will actually watch your 6-fight main cards. Quit doing fucking bullshit, because Nico Price and Randy Brown is the one that got bumped up, I think, from the early Fight Pass prelims. Instead of taking Elkins versus Volkanovski, because the only way when I get it is usually they've already cut a bunch of promos and they already have promo packages made for the main event of the Fight Pass, or sorry, for the
Right.
prelims, and so they usually don't yank that one. I get that, but this is the second one on the prelims, is Elkins versus Volkanovski. Volkanovski's won, I think, 14 in a row. He's like a fucking Australian Habib, I think. And Darren Elkins, fucking comeback of the year. I don't care what the World MMA Award says. That was comeback of the year. And he's won 6 in a row. It's crazy.
I feel like that's what I mean, man. They really neglect it. They really neglect a lot of the stories behind some of these fights they book. It's ridiculous.
Frank Vavant says Pettis didn't piss hot. They're feeding us bullshit. All right, I'm not gonna go off your breaking news polls for loaded. You son of a bitch. But man, yeah, maybe I'll get some capabilities on my phone for YouTube and at least hook you guys up with some sort of content live from the fights, and it'll definitely be on the channel. So stay tuned for that shit. Hopefully Jay Smooth will be back this week. We'll do some sort of stream. We'll bring something to the people.
Yeah, man, let me know. I'll definitely be back here.
All right, cool. Well, until next time, back to you, sickos. We're out of here.
Peace.